Hey guys, Mono here. This is Battlebit Remastered, a game which you might recognize because the most noticeable thing about it is the way it looks. This game gained notoriety shortly after Battlefield 2042 came out, when people were looking for an alternative to a Battlefield game that wasn't very good, and that's when this game absolutely exploded because it kind of came out of nowhere, offering this very similar experience to a Battlefield game despite these graphics, and now you have tens of thousands of people joining these playtests that are being carried out on Saturdays, which is quite an accomplishment. You know, just getting 15,000 people to play your game during a specific time frame on a specific day is not an easy task. So is this actually any good? Well, after spending a few hours playing it, I think it is. There's a surprisingly mature and feature-rich game disguised here behind these Roblox graphics. But before going on, let me tell you about Boosteroid. Boosteroid is a cloud gaming platform that allows you to play games from your game libraries like Steam or Epic, as well as a variety of different free-to-play games. So even if you don't have a powerful PC, you can still benefit from sales on Steam and then play the games at 1080p 60 frames per second on a tablet, phone, or laptop through Boosteroid. As with any other streaming service, you need to check to make sure that your internet connection has the necessary bandwidth and latency needed for Boosteroid to work properly. You can check that by clicking on the speed test on the top right of the Boosteroid's website. If you do decide to subscribe, you can use the link down in the video description to support the channel in the process. And now let's keep talking about the Battlebit graphics. Unfortunately, I think the graphics do get in the way of this being better than it could be, but not because I think realistic graphics would necessarily make it better. I'm one of those gameplay over graphics kind of guys. But there is one specific issue which I think makes the graphics affect the gameplay in a substantially negative way, and that is the fact that there is a lack of contrast in some areas, which makes it very hard to understand the level geometry that you're dealing with, and that can even make it hard to spot enemies sometimes. There's other disorienting effects, like for example, you see a wall through a window, and since the wall you're seeing looks exactly the same as the wall surrounding the window, you might not notice that there is a window at all, if that makes sense. It also makes particle effects like smoke look more solid, which makes them block more of your screen more often, and that's also quite annoying. But despite this, the game is actually very good. It features surprisingly good gunplay, which reminds me of Battlefield 2042 in a good sense, because that's actually one of the few things that game does extremely well. Weapons have controllable recoil patterns. They are surprisingly accurate and deadly in a way that you wouldn't expect, because it doesn't really match the graphics that you're seeing on the screen. It's almost this tactical style gameplay where reloading is based on magazines. Spending half a magazine and then reloading means you will eventually load that half empty magazine back. So there's a surprising amount of depth that you wouldn't expect to come out of this game. Weapons are customizable with different attachments that you can unlock. There's a wide variety of different weapons and gear that's already available in this stage of the game, which, by the way, the game will be coming as early access this year, so it's not going to release as a full game this year, but rather early access, and that's going to be about $15. This is not going to be a free-to-play game. So yeah, one of the most surprising things about Battlebit, once you get over the way the game looks, are these extremely advanced features that are rare to see in any multiplayer shooter, like being able to drag bodies so you can revive a teammate without him instantly dying again. There's a key you can hold to redistribute the ammunition amongst your magazines to make sure you have full magazines and not these half-empty ones. You can call in supplies from the sky. Once you earn enough points, you can build walls. There's a destructible environment. Basically, the entire map can be destroyed. And perhaps the craziest thing is that it fits 254 players per map, which is just insane. Now, does that work actually in terms of making it a better game than just having 64 or 128 players? I'm not sure. One of the key reasons why I like Battlefield games is because you can be like Rambo and take out a tank and an airplane and a couple of soldiers in a single life, and that is very impactful. But once you get 254 players in the map, then those moments don't really have the impact in terms of making your team win because it just feels like a drop in a bucket, right? It all gets very diluted. Now, if all this wasn't crazy enough, there are only 3 developers working on this. That is 3 people, not 3 teams. It's apparently been worked on since 2016, and it's gone through 4 or 5 different versions of this game, which is why it's called Battlebit Remastered, and I'm really excited about the future of this. I've actually been trying to get into a lot more playtests. Unfortunately, the times that are available for me to play on Saturdays do not match up necessarily with those playtests, but what I did play of the game, I was very surprised with what I found. I think they do need to do something about the flat textures. Some maps do eliminate this problem by having better texture work with more detailed patterns to the textures that helps mitigate that geometry problem. Maybe adding ambient occlusion or shadows or something, maybe that would help as well. But more than anything, I'm really surprised at how much this felt like a true Battlefield game and how solid it all was. It's a weird case where what you're seeing on the screen does not correspond to how the game feels, because it feels like a much more serious game than what it looks like. So yeah, let me know what you think about this down in the comment section, if you have tried the game out or not and why. And as always, if you enjoyed the video, then please give it a like, think about subscribing to the channel for more. And as always, I hope you enjoyed the video and I will catch you in the next one.